Good evening. It's time for the Iman Report. It is Saturday night, September 19th. We are getting done with a very fun fight card, UFC Fight Night 178 in Las Vegas. Colby Covington finishes Tyron Woodley via TKO, verbal TKO in the fifth round. And this one was a very fun fight card. Tonight, on a scale of 1 to 10, I am giving tonight's fight card an 8. Very fun fight card from Covington all the way down to Tyson Nam. But Covington is the first fighter since Nate Marquardt to finish Tyron Woodley. And this fight Covington simply dominated Tyron Woodley. Covington proved he belongs in the top 5, whereas Tyron Woodley looks like a fighter who might be finished. We are going to a changing of the guard tonight in this fight. By the fourth round, Tyron Woodley was bleeding, and then after an injury, Woodley had no choice but to verbally tap out, and it was Colby Covington by victory. And Covington's earned himself a big money fight after this. I don't think he's going to get a rematch with Kamaru Usman just yet. Usman is likely going to fight Gilbert Burns next. So what could be next for Colby Covington? My idea would be, I would maybe scrap the idea of Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz too. Could you imagine Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal on New Year's Eve fighting for the BMF title? Could you imagine the payday? That could be a moneymaker right there. That would be the fight I would want to see. I think a lot of people would love to see Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. Could you imagine all the trash talk, all the shit talk you could get in that fight? It would be fireworks. It would sell. It would definitely sell. It would be a 5-card pay-per-view main event. It would probably get near 1 million buys if this fight were booked. I think this is the fight that should happen. Covington and Masvidal have beef with each other. This fight would sell. Well, say Masvidal does fight Diaz again. What's option B? Option B could be for Covington to wait for the winner of Burns and Usman. That would be an option. Or the scenario I hope we don't see is Covington having to settle to fight Leon Edwards. Edwards is a boring fighter. I don't think there would be a lot of credit, and there would be a lot of, again, it would not sell, and it would be a travesty. It would really be a travesty for me to see Colby Covington have to fight Leon Edwards. I would like to see Edwards get his fair share at the title shot at some point. Edwards has won 8 straight, but I want to keep Leon Edwards away from Colby Covington for the time being. I just hope we get what I want. That is a big payday, a big fight between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. Show him the money! As for Tyron Woodley, I think for Woodley, he has to at least take a long pause from fighting. Woodley is a shell of his former self in the last 3 fights. He's lost 15 rounds in a row. He's not the same fighter. He has fallen off a cliff. So for me, at the very least, Tyron Woodley has to take a long time off of fighting, get his mind and body back into fight mode before he takes a fight. I feel like he could be going down the same path as Renan Barao. Barao, another fighter who went on a very long winning streak and then fell off a cliff and then eventually got cut by the UFC. I don't know. Is maybe retirement? I'm not sure. But I think for Tyron Woodley, I think some soul searching has to be done here. I won't say retire, just I might. I don't know if he'll retire just yet, but I don't want him fighting anybody in the top 5 anytime soon. But he needs to take a nice long break from fighting. Maybe go see a psychiatrist, get his mental health, get himself mentally back in the game before he even considers taking another fight. And when he does take another fight, it's likely going to be a guy like Neil Magny or Jeff Neal. It's going to be somewhere on the back end of the top 10, top 15. I don't think Woodley's ever going to fight a top 5 fighter again. I think he is a gatekeeper. And just take a long time. Just take a nice long time off. Take your time coming back, Tyron Woodley. Take care of your mental health. He's looked frazzled and he should not be fighting anytime in the near future. In the co-main event, Donald Cerrone gets a majority draw against Nico Price. Nico Price technically won the fight, but was penalized a point for a foul. But this is another fighter in Donald Cerrone where I love the guy. He's a great fighter. But yeah, Nico Price had a foul which cost him the victory. Price Price is nothing more than a gatekeeper at an exciting gatekeeper. I'll just say that. He's not ever going to be a ranked fighter, I think. I think honestly this is near the end of the line for Donald Cerrone. He looks like a fighter who might need to really take a hard long look at retirement. Hopefully this is the last we see of Donald Cerrone in 2020. But yeah, certainly the 2 fouls just did not. But yeah, the fouls definitely cost Nico Price a victory, but I think Nico Price won it. I don't wish to see this rematched. But yeah, for Price, he's a serviceable gatekeeper, always an exciting fighter. Never will fight for the belt, but he's always exciting to watch in the octagon. Who should be next for Nico Price? I wonder if these 2 ever fought in the. I want to see if he's ever fought this guy. No, he hasn't. Wow. Okay, I think I've got a fight for Nico Price next. I'm surprised these 2 fighters have never met in the octagon before, and this might be the perfect time for it. Could you imagine a fight between Nico Price and Platinum Mike Perry? Two wild strikers. This would be a banger. These two fighters are never going to be champion, but this would be a very fun fight at 170 between two entertaining fighters. They're ranked near each other, so why not? Perry versus Price. I'm going to go with that. I think that'd be a very exciting fight there. As for Donald Cerrone, take the rest of the year off. I think for Cerrone, I love Cerrone. He's a great fighter. I'm always going to enjoy Cowboy. Unless I kind of want to see Dana White give Cowboy a gimme fight. I kind of want to see him get one last fight as a gimme fight so he can hang his gloves in the octagon. I think it's got to be retirement for Cerrone. I really do. It pains me to say this, but I've as much of a Cerrone fan as I am, I think I want to see Cerrone hang it up at this point. Losing to the Price really has to be the final straw. And hopefully maybe some time off, spend some time with your kids, watch your kids grow up. But honestly, please retire. I would prefer for Donald Cerrone to retire at this rate. He has nothing left to prove inside the octagon, especially with his chin eroding. I just don't want to see anything really bad happen to Donald Cerrone at this point. In the third of the night, this could be knockout of the night right here. Kazmat Shimev defeats Gerald Mearshart with a knockout in 17 seconds in the octagon. Shimaev is a contender. And now he is 3-0 in the UFC. And Shimaev should get a big jump in competition after this thorough domination of Gerald Mearshart. I think this guy is going to be a future contender. I think it's time to get him maybe get him a little bit further into the deep end of the pool at this point. See where he's ranked. All right, he's ranked 50 on the welterweights. I think a good fight, maybe a battle of two undefeateds should be next. Sean Brady versus Shamaev. Could you imagine that? That would be a very entertaining fight. Brady, another rising prospect. The winner of these two could make a case for a top 15 fighter. So I think Shimaev versus Brady, this would be a very good undercard. A battle of two good undefeated fighters. As for Gerald Mearshart, this is back-to-back times he's been knocked out. So this is time for him to... He was knocked out by Ian Heinisch in the first round. So next for him, for maybe this might be the last fight you should take for 2020. Come back in 2021. and then maybe take somebody in the back of the line. Probably the loser of Wellington Termon and Sean Strickland is what should be next for Gerald Mearshart after he recovers from these 2 knockouts. And then if he gets knocked out a 3rd time, goodbye. In the fight before that, Johnny Walker gets back on track with a 1st-round knockout of Ryan Spann. I think UFC should take their time with Johnny Walker now after this win, and it shows Spann's not exactly ready to contend at light heavyweight just yet. But also, it's not time to throw Walker right back to the wolves either. I think for Walker, the next fight he should take is against Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed Ankalaev is what should be next for Johnny Walker. I'd be really reluctant to throw him right back to the top 10 fighters just yet. Get him another win or 2 before that. Ryan Spann, this is Ryan Spann's first loss in the UFC. So maybe Ryan Spann's not exactly ready for the top 15 just yet. So he's going to have to take maybe a little bit of a step back. Maybe get somebody right outside of the top 15 for Spann. But I still think Ryan Spann's got a bright future at 205. Okay, Ankalaev and Kutilaba were rebooked. So instead of Ankalaev, the winner of Ankalaev and Kutilaba is what should be next for Johnny Walker. As for Ryan Spann, maybe the loser of Ankalaev and Kutilaba is what should be next for Ryan Spann. There we go. Or you could put him up against the loser of Jimmy Crute and Bukauskas, which is scheduled for October 17th. Mackenzie Dern submits Randa Marcos in the 1st round. That could get submission of the night. Mackenzie Dern solidifying herself as a top 15 strawweight. And I think now for her, I think what should be next for Mackenzie Dern, this would be a very exciting fight, maybe, is Angela Hill. Dern versus Hill, that would be a very underrated fight at 115. I think it would be a really good fight. So I'm going to go with Dern versus Angela Hill. That should be next. For Randa Marcos, this is, I think, the first time she's lost back to 2 in a row. Yeah, she's lost 3 out of her last 4, and for the longest time she was alternating between wins and losses. So Marcos on a bit of a tough stretch here. So certainly Marcos going to have to take a step down in competition. Has she fought? No. So maybe for her, Brianna Van Buren is what should be next for. No, maybe not Van Buren. Maybe somebody like Emily Whitmer, Emily Whitmire could be next. Put those two up. Loser that fight gets cut. I think Marcos could be getting in close territory of being cut at this point. So I'll go that. And the first fight in a split decision, Kevin Holland beats Darren Stewart 29-28, 29 with one judge having it 29-28 for Stewart. What should be next for Kevin Holland? I think we're finding out Kevin Holland does have a ceiling. So maybe he's getting close to where his ceiling is. Maybe he's a fringe top 15 fighter. So after this win, I think the winner of Ian Heinisch and the winner of Ian Heinisch and Brandon Allen should be next for Kevin Holland. I'll go with that. As long as he hasn't fought any of those two. Let's see. Oh, he's lost. Okay, strike that. He's a loss to Brandon Allen, so we're not going to do that. Okay, the winner of Krzysztof Jotko and Makhmed Muradov. I'll go with that for Kevin Holland. As for what should be next for Darren Stewart, maybe the loser of Bavon Lewis and Trevin Giles. That's what I'll go with for that. Now on to the prelim card. David Dvorak beats Jordan Espinoza via unanimous decision. Dvorak maybe nearing the title contention at the 125 division. No, not yet. But he could be setting himself up for a fight with. Let's see who's got fights booked first. Maybe Raulian Paiva. This puts Dvorak likely going to get a fight against a fringe top 10 fighter next. Wow, Dvorak actually has a 15 fight winning streak. The Moreno, do. I think what's next for the Undertaker is the winner of Kai Kara France and Brandon Royval should be next for David Dvorak. As for Jordan Espinoza, I don't really see him ranked down here. He's way ranked down. Maybe I missed him. Maybe the loser of Amir Albazi and Raulian Paiva should be next for Jordan Espinoza. I'll go with that since I can't really find his ranking. The fight before that, Damon Jackson beats Mirsad Bektic by a guillotine choke. What should be next for Damon Jackson? Damon the Leech Jackson currently ranked 71 in the featherweights according to Tapology with a 2-fight winning streak. So next for Julian Arosa. I'm going to go with Julian Arosa should be next for. I'll go Julian Arosa for Damon Jackson. And for Mirsad Bektic, this fighter's fallen on hard times now. This is his third straight loss. And, you know, he came in. This is sad for Bektic. He's lost 3 in a row, and he was hyped up to be a contender. And his losses were all. One was TKO by Emmett, and then he was submitted by Damon Jackson. Jackson, not exactly a top 15 fighter. Then he's lost to Dan Ige. So there could be a chance that Mirsad Bektic gets cut after tonight's fight. And so I'm going to say Bektic might be getting cut after tonight. Mayra Bueno Silva beats Mara Romero Barella in the first round via submission. What should be next for Silva? Silva now 7-1 in her fighting career. Silva currently ranked 26th best flyweight according to Tapology. Maybe the winner of Lipsky and Antonina Shevchenko should be next. As for Mara Romero Barella, it's the end of the line for Barella. She's getting cut after tonight. She's 1-4 in the UFC. And her only wins against Talia 2-5 in the UFC. Still not going to cut it, and she's lost 4 in a row. So I think for her, it's adios for Barella. Maybe she goes to Invicta, but she's just not made for the UFC. The fight before that, Jessica Rose Clark beat Sarah Alpar in the third round via TKO. What should be next for Rose Clark? Rose Clark ranked 24 at women's bantamweight, according to Tapology. Getting the win over Alpar. The winner of Bia Malecki and Tracy Cortez is what should be next for Jessica Rose Clark. Sarah Alpar, her next fight should be against the loser of those two. That should be that simple. They're ranked close to each other. In the fight before that, Derek Minner beats TJ Laramie via submission via a guillotine choke. What should be next for Minner? Currently ranked 107th in the featherweight division. Maybe the winner of Zalal and Choi is what should be next for Minner. For Laramie, next is a debutante for him. Randy Costa getting the win over Journey Newsom via knockout. What should be next for Randy Costa? Randy Costa now 5-1 in the UFC, could get a 5-1 in his MMA career. Time to give Costa somebody a little higher up on the food chain. The winner of Alatang and Casey Kenny is what should be next for Randy Costa. As for Journey Newsom, the journey in the UFC is over. I think he's getting cut after tonight. He hasn't won in the UFC in 3 fights. That is usually the kiss of death. The fight before that, Andre Ewell beats Erwin Rivera via split decision. Andre Ewell, a very serviceable fighter in the bantamweight division, now ranked according to Tapology at 31. I think for him, next fight should be against Jack Shore. And as for Erwin Rivera, now 1-2 in the UFC. Erwin the Beast Rivera currently ranked 84. Loser of Colares and Lopez. I'll go with that for Randy Costa. I can see for Erwin Rivera. And in the first fight of the night, Tyson Nam beats Jerome Rivera via TKO. Tyson Nam finally getting some wins. This is his second win in a row at 125. So maybe Tyson Nam finally getting on track here. Currently ranked 18th. So maybe a fight between Nam and Tim Elliott should be next. Two veteran fighters. Still earning a paycheck, so I'm going to go Nam and Nam and Elliott. I'll go with that. Jerome Rivera. Rivera likely gets a debutante next. Next week, it is time for the big pay-per-view everybody's talking about. Next week on Fight Island, it will be Israel Adesanya against Paulo Costa Borrachina. This is the fight everybody's talking about. This is going to be a very exciting fight. These two fighters do not care for each other, and this should make for an exciting pay-per-view next Saturday night. And the co-main event is also one that's very entertaining. Dominic Reyes going against Jan Blachowicz for the vacant light heavyweight title. So we will have a new UFC light heavyweight champion not named John Bones Jones next Saturday night. And also it'll be birthday weekend for me. Yay! So everybody have a good night, good fights. I hope everybody had a great time when joining the UFC. We'll be back on air tomorrow after NFL wraps up. So everybody have an excellent night. I'm in out.